A Milwaukee police officer, his name Frank Williams, 30 years of age, was suspended on Saturday after he was charged with physical abuse of a child, strangulation, and suffocation. This is in regards to a 7-year-old girl that he's related to, although we're not told the nature of the relationship. My guess, it is a guess, is that the 7-year-old girl is his daughter. Could be wrong. What we do know is that the Milwaukee police were called to the Children's Hospital, Wisconsin on Wednesday for a report of child abuse. An officer spoke with the 7-year-old girl who said that Frank Williams had whooped her that day with a belt. The officer noted that the girl had 7 or 8 bruises on her thigh. She also had a long bruise on her arm. An in-depth interview was conducted the following day at the Racine Child Advocacy Center. The girl told investigators that Officer Williams gave her a whooping everywhere on her body because she was supposed to take a nap, but she stayed awake. Yeah, that's what kids do, and what adults should not do is fucking beat a child. The girl said that after she was beat with a belt, the officer choked her. She says, "He squished my neck." She said that she couldn't breathe, and she also said that this was not the first time that Officer Williams, potentially her father, certainly a relative, not the first time that he had choked her. He is a danger to children, certainly a danger to this young girl. There was a woman in the room at the time, and that woman first told the girl to stop moving. So that woman's a fucking cunt. She's an enabler. Apparently, the woman later said to Frank Williams, "That is enough." Okay, bitch. Yeah, you're right. That is enough. But it was enough before. She shouldn't have been beaten with a belt. She shouldn't have been choked. And according to the girl, this is not the first time. And I guarantee the woman who was in the room was aware of that. So she said, "Hey, that's enough. Stop beating the 7-year-old girl. You're 30 years of age, a grown man, a police officer. Stop beating up and choking a 7-year-old girl. It's not enough, bitch. Take some proper action. Why didn't you report this?" Anyhow, we're told that the officer's response after being told that that is enough, he said, "No, it's not." So he was hell-bent of causing serious harm to this girl, potentially his daughter, choking her not for the first time, beating her not for the first time, seemingly. I should say allegedly. He can't control himself. He can't stop himself. He's a monster in that regard. I mean, that's pretty much the definition of a monster, isn't it? Overcome with rage, unable to control himself. He knows he's a grown man with physical strength, a police officer, and he knows the strength of a 7-year-old girl. Yet he allowed himself to beat her. I'm going to say brutalize her. It's alleged that the officer also struck a 4-year-old boy that was in the room. The 7-year-old girl said that she could hear him crying, and that's pretty much all the information that we do have in regards to the incident concerned. I'm going to say that there's perhaps a blessing that, and I'm guessing here, I hope I'm right, that there's not going to be any ongoing injury sustained by the girl concerned. She's got some bruising that will subside. She's got some trauma. This grown man has beat her and choked her many times. That's traumatic. The woman that was in her room, I'm going to guess her mother, could be wrong, barely intervened. She did the bare fucking minimum. Less than the rightful minimum. Just enough to say that she did something. Yeah, you did something, but not a great fucking deal, did you, bitch? Not enough. The good news is that Milwaukee police have suspended the officer concerned. Again, he's been arrested and charged with physical abuse of a child, strangulation, and suffocation. If he's convicted, he could face up to 6 years in prison as well as $10,000 in fines. What do you think of this situation? Well, I'm not a parent myself, and I do think that's relevant. I do think parents are in very difficult situations. I used to watch a lot of Stefan Molyneux, a philosopher that was on YouTube. He was very controversial. He had some controversial views, and with that, he was cancelled from pretty much any social media platform out there. But one of the subjects he discussed in great detail, as far as I can understand, I used to listen to him quite a bit. He used to talk about trauma of various kinds, but notably childhood trauma, and he would argue that there's no justification whatsoever for hitting a child. There's no justification for it. It's also not beneficial. A parent, a guardian is there to love and support the child. Hitting them, even to any minor extent, nullifies any attempt to have an actual conversation, an actual negotiation with the child, a correction of their behavior to enhance their understanding of whatever it is that they're doing, which is so-called wrong. It nullifies that opportunity, but also it puts the child in a fearful state. And a child is extremely vulnerable, obviously we know this. They require to be protected by their parents, by their guardian, and if it's their parent or their guardian that's not protecting them but hitting them, striking them, then that puts the child in a fearful state, which they hold in a subconscious manner moving forward. So it harms the relationship between the child and the parent or guardian. In addition to that, a child is a tiny little thing. How much does a child weigh? Obviously it depends, but even like a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, they weigh nothing. They weigh like, I don't know, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, something like that, 50 pounds, I don't really know. But they are weak. They have no strength, none. That's not entirely true. I had a relative who used to slap me when he was 9. It bloody hurt, but it's kind of by the by. Generally speaking, they have no strength, certainly compared to a grown adult. Even a woman, don't call me a misogynist, please. Even a woman, women generally, not always, generally, have less strength than men, yet much more strength than a child. If that boy turns 12, you don't want to be hitting him too often because, he might start to fight back. But anyway, I'm against striking of children in any way, shape or form. I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think it's unfair. I think it's abuse. But at the same time, I acknowledge that I'm not a parent and that, what do I know? I'm just going off one person's belief, their arguments, which seem pretty solid to me. But, perhaps there are other arguments that a little bit of a slap here and there, a little bit of a tap or whatever, can correct behavior. Maybe there is some truth to that. I can't say I fully know everything, but certainly whooping, beating, choking, striking with a belt or any other utensil is just way beyond civilized behavior. So my feeling is that it's right that he was fired from the police department. I believe that's right. I'm not entirely sure. Is it fair for him to be fired for having been arrested? I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest. I guess so, seeing as he has to work with members of the public, including children. So if he can't be trusted in that regards, then yeah, I guess that is the right thing to do. I think it's right that he faces up to 6 years in prison if found guilty. It's a long time, but he was going way too far. He was becoming rageful. He was a monster. Thankfully, seemingly, he has not caused any long-term physical damage on the girl nor the 4-year-old boy, but it seems that he was going down that route. Whether he realized it or not, he was. So one would hope that 6 years in jail, 6 years in prison would go a long way to correct that behavior. It won't necessarily, but I don't know. It just seems like just punishment to me. Anyhow, that's all I want to cover on this topic. I think it's quite interesting. Perhaps you agree, perhaps you don't, but I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you're in a position to consider joining my memberships, please do, but only if you see me being consistent. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. So you can hold me accountable. I shall work for my 2 members, particularly Donna. She's a super fan. But either way, I'm going to thank you for listening and take care.